Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through compelling material to bring you the core insights you need.
And today, we're looking at a really interesting conversation,
Yeah, it's from Vietcetera's YouTube channel featuring Tu Thi Minh and Thuin. They're discussing Ung Han.
which translates roughly to accompanying or maybe being together. It's a lovely term.
It really is. And our mission here is to unpack this idea of companionship, with others, but maybe most importantly with ourselves.
Understanding why that self-companionship piece is so vital for getting through life, the good and the bad, and doing that inner work.
Exactly. So let's dive in.
Okay, so right off the bat, they stress how crucial companionship is for tough journeys. But they start, interestingly, with yourself.
Right, being your own companion setter.
Yeah, and they use that story from Sapiens, the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh yeah, with the broom going crazy.
Exactly.
Right.
It's such a vivid way to show what happens if you jump into, well, deep inner stuff or really any powerful force without knowing how to handle it.
It's a great metaphor for maybe rushing into self-discovery without being properly prepared. You need the right foundation.
And they highlight two absolutely critical things for that foundation. First, right direction.
Like having good guidance, a map, learning from people who've been there.
And second, the right attitude, your mindset.
That makes sense. You need the how and the why, or maybe the how and the how you approach it.
And they talk about the danger of having the wrong attitude. Like, they use this analogy.
Good martial arts manual.
Yes. Someone gets this incredibly powerful guide, but their intention is bad. Maybe they want power over others.
So the techniques might work, but the whole thing gets twisted because the underlying attitude is off. Could even be harmful.
Precisely. So the very first companion you need, especially for that inner journey, is yourself.
But you're self-armed with the right things.
Right. Good guidance from experts, reliable sources, and that positive, open attitude. Being kind to yourself, wanting to understand, not just judge.
Not beating yourself up along the way.
Exactly. And this is where they bring in the but.
Yeah, boy. Experienced mentors, yeah. People who are further along the path.
Especially for things like meditation or healing work, where guidance can really help you avoid common pitfalls.
Sure. But it's not just about looking outside for help, is it?
No, and that's a key point. They introduce this idea of internal companionship, something you cultivate inside.
How?
Through mindful attention, through focus.
Okay, so that leads us nicely into the second big idea, the power of presence and attention.
Yeah, they talk about dentem, a settled mind, and suchui, attention or awareness. These are like your internal superpowers.
Indispensable companions for success in anything, but especially for looking inwards.
And they use some really great analogies to make it concrete. Thuy Minh's one about climbing a rock wall.
Oh, I liked that. Focusing just on the next handhold.
Yeah. Instead of getting paralyzed by how high the summit looks, it's about breaking it down. Small steps, right here, right now.
Keeps it manageable.
And then there was Kung Am's analogy, too.
Lighting one candle at a time.
Right. Not trying to flood the whole dark room instantly, just bringing focused light bit by bit. It shows how small acts of attention add up.
So this focused attention, it lets you see things you'd normally miss.
Exactly. Those small but important details in the present moment.
Oh.
We're so easily distracted, aren't we?
Totally. Pulled away by emails, responsibilities, just everything.
And they stress the importance of consciously returning your focus to the Futte Kuhindai, the moment of now.
It sounds like work, though, like training.
It is. They talk about the monkey mind, how it jumps all over the place. It takes sustained effort to train it to be still when you need it to be.
So how do you actually do that? How do you practice?
They share three key phrases from mindfulness practice. The first is Toyanan Lambitai.
What am I doing right here?
Yeah. And the second is Podang Siksugul Vidik Dum Naude.
What am I engaging with right now?
And the third crucial part is beat clear awareness. Really knowing what you're doing, not just going through the motions.
Avoiding that looking without seeing trap.
Right. Which apparently resonated with Thuy Minh and Xuan Phuc, that phrase Ninma Toi, looking and seeing.
It's easy to lose that connection, isn't it? They mention the mind getting madun.
Like a gradual blurring or fading out. It's often subtle.
So coming back to awareness is like switching from autopilot to manual, from unconscious to conscious.
That's a good way to put it. And they say this shift opens you up to appreciating simple things, like that Tagore quote.
About missing the dewdrop on your own doorstep while looking for wonders far away.
Exactly. Happiness, or at least contentment, can be found right here, right now, if you just open your senses.
Seeing the miracle in the everyday.
And they make this direct link. Concentration allows you to see value, and seeing value is experiencing life.
That feels important. It cuts against that constant push to always be looking ahead, planning, worrying.
It does. It's about finding a balance, grounding yourself in the now.
And it's a skill you can improve.
Definitely. Tathy Menin notes that with practice, you get quicker at bringing your attention back, even in normal life situations.
Like the example of the parent trying to get kids to eat, but nobody's really present with the food.
Yeah. Or Thuy Min's examples with her kids swimming, brushing teeth.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it together, mindfully, it stops being a chore.
It becomes a shared moment, a connection.
Right. And that 1-minute silent eating exercise they suggested.
Such a simple idea, but powerful, a little anchor.
But it takes effort to maintain it, right? It's not automatic.
No, they say it requires constant reminding, and it connects back to your deeper values, your life philosophy.
What really drives you to practice is that deep need for connection with yourself, with life.
And if you struggle to do it alone?
They suggest retreats. Immersive practice helps the brain get used to stillness, see the benefits. It builds that consciousness to counter the old habits.
Like hitting a reset button.
Kind of. And more consciousness leads to tinjeslet, self-reflection, the ability to see your patterns and actually change them.
Moving from reacting to responding intentionally.
Yeah. And they suggest weaving it into daily life. Small moments count. Savoring tea, a moment of silence before meals, really noticing sensory details.
Okay, and there was a second key phrase for meditation.
Yes. After knowing what you're doing, you observe how it's unfolding.
How is the object of attention actually happening?
And doing that with bak cho bao, a clear, radiant awareness, not just dull attention, but bright, clear seeing without judgment.
And that leads to joy and appreciating life.
That's the idea. Truly enjoying life means being aware of what you're doing, who you're with, and the value in it. Being present enough to actually feel it.
Which brings us to the third insight. Time, balance, and our inner state. How much time do we need for this?
They acknowledge different approaches in meditation, but Thuy Min has this realization.
That she's already paying attention all the time, just to different things.
Exactly. It reframes mindfulness. It's not just something separate. It's a quality you can bring to anything.
So Sututam is being fully present and aware.
Yes. And then they pair Chutam concentration with Kwansat, mindfulness.
Okay, what's the difference?
Mindfulness, as they define it here, is the observation part. It's driven by the intention to understand how things are unfolding. Concentration holds you there, mindfulness observes.
Got it. And then the third piece of the meditation puzzle
is the attitude. Tai do toi no de. How am I observing? Am I relaxed, tense, aware of my feelings?
And they say that's the hardest part.
Often, yes, because it's so easy to get swept away by everything outside.
And lose touch with yourself, that inner grounding.
But they argue that consistently connecting with yourself makes you more resilient, less thrown off by external stuff or difficult emotions.
They link a lot of psychological issues to being disconnected, to not being home.
Yes, and being too reliant on external validation. They even call it an addiction to emotion.
That's strong language.
It is. They compare it to substance addiction, how chasing external highs might actually deplete your brain's natural feel-good chemicals.
Making you need the external hit even more. Wow.
And that can lead to all sorts of compulsive behaviors, seeking fulfillment outside yourself.
Well, the answer is?
Coming home. Disconnecting from the noise, finding peace within.
That feels almost radical today. Just stopping and coming back to yourself.
They position it as essential for well-being. From that centered place, you can handle the harder things.
And for people really struggling, facilitators help them do that, help them become their own companions.
Exactly. Guiding them back to nature, back to their feelings. Real companionship, they say, is being fully present with someone, helping them return to the present moment.
Through their senses, maybe?
And they call presence and focus essential weapons for life's battles, including emotional ones.
A clear, aware mind makes it easier to face inner turmoil without being swamped by it.
Right. You can embrace it, understand it better.
Okay, so take away 4 moves outward a bit. Relationships, boundaries.
Yeah, how we offer and receive companionship in everyday life, outside of like therapy or meditation halls.
And the first point is crucial. Don't forget yourself when helping others.
You can't pour from an empty cup. And choose your company wisely. Chant bent mache.
That idea that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
It highlights how much the energy around us affects us,
Yeah.
which makes interacting with people carrying a lot of pain, the Mbeton Thuing, the wounded child, really challenging.
So how do you navigate that? You want to help, but you also need to protect yourself.
They suggest clear boundaries, even if it's just offering a short burst of real presence.
Like saying, I can be fully here with you for these next 2 minutes.
Exactly. That honesty and genuine presence, even if brief, can still be incredibly valuable.
But again, it comes back to being your own companion first.
Always. And they acknowledge that sometimes people with deep wounds really do need external professional help.
Which is where the MAT approach comes in.
Yes. Management, organizing your life for healing, acceptance of the problem and the need for help, and discipline, sticking with the practices.
MAD, manage, accept, discipline, a practical framework.
And for those who can't manage it alone, skilled facilitators provide that guidance. Tatsmin even shares his own feeling of inadequacy sometimes.
Not being able to help everyone.
Yeah, but still committing to guiding and protecting.
That mention of the Sure song, guiding and protecting you, and his reaction, it's quite moving.
It really shows the depth of care,
Yeah.
the desire to help people through crises of identity, purpose.
But the core path remains inward.
Yes, self-understanding, emotional release, healing, and being open to guidance from wise people around you.
Some people just have that natural protector vibe, don't they? Good listeners creating a safe space.
Offering that non-judgmental presence where someone can just return to the moment.
Okay, final key insight. Returning to self and trusting inner wisdom. They start with projection, right? Blaming others.
Yeah, that very common thing where you feel bad and immediately look for an external cause.
Instead of looking inward first.
Right. Taking a moment to ask, okay, where's this discomfort really coming from inside me? Taking ownership.
Taisi Mininim shares feeling depleted and connecting with the universe. Trulet.
Vitch.
Yeah, that sense of being part of something much bigger. An interconnected web.
And seeing that larger system as nurturing, always present.
The idea that the universe is constantly supporting us, we just need to be open to receiving it. He also mentions connecting with teachers, ancestors for support.
Realizing even our breath, our food, are gifts from this whole system. It highlights how interdependent we are.
We're not islands. The universe, the community, it's always there. We just forget.
Like the Sure song lyric about ancestors offering rest.
Exactly. It's humbling. Recognizing the limits of just my effort and the strength and connection in community. Sometimes you need to surrender.
Surrender not as giving up, but as acknowledging limits. Yeah. And recognizing the ego can block that return to self, that connection.
The temple metaphor comes back here, the inner deities.
When things feel too overwhelming inside, instead of fighting the demons directly, you connect with your inner deities, your inherent qualities of strength, peace, compassion.
Like finding a safe refuge within yourself.
Right. And practicing non-identification. Those difficult thoughts, feelings, they are temporary visitors. They are not you.
So return to the kingdom of the present moment.
Where the past isn't happening now unless you keep replaying it. The present is full connections, passions, values. Anchor yourself there.
Access those inner resources through stillness, mindfulness.
Yeah. Keep the mind anchored in peace, stability, even while you're busy.
So wrapping up, there's this feeling of happiness, gratitude. That comes from being mindfully present.
Yeah, not denying problems, but tapping into an underlying well-being.
And the whole point of this deep dive, this discussion of on, is to help empower you, the listener.
To be a better companion. To yourself, first and foremost, and then to others.
Remembering strength comes from connection, not just solo effort.
And there's that rewarding feeling when insights just bubble up. And quiet moments when you're not trying so hard.
Like creative breakthroughs often happen when you relax.
And companionship, ultimately. It's personal how you define it.
But finding it within and connecting genuinely with others definitely eases that sense of loneliness.
Toyumin links living joyfully, harmoniously with Trang Tu's idea of thong dong, that ease and freedom. It's a sign you're on the right track.
Your inner state is your compass.
And his comment about enjoying aging because it fits the image of wisdom.
That's a lovely perspective, aligning with the flow. Trusting your resources are always there.
And sometimes just pausing, observing the challenge instead of forcing a solution, trusting things will shift, like waiting for the weather to change.
And that Viktor Frankl quote, striving to be worthy of your suffering, finding ease through meaning. Powerful.
And finally, a nod to the companionship Thuy Min and her team offer through their work, providing insights, reminders.
Yeah. Hopefully, our deep dive today has also offered you a sense of ease, maybe some companionship on your journey.
Because that inner reflection, that's where the real understanding happens. Trust that you're not alone. Companions are always present, within and around.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Ong Han. We hope you've taken away something valuable about, well, being a companion to yourself through mindfulness.
And the importance of how we show up for others and let them show up for us.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Which deities, which inner strengths or resources can you consciously connect with when things get tough?
And maybe just ask yourself, how can you be a slightly more mindful, present companion to yourself and to someone else today?